very much, Mr. Chairman, and I thought, Mr. Chairman and colleagues, I had seen just about everything, but this committee has just completed a key discussion on the budget foundation for $10 trillion worth of tax policy changes in less time than it takes to wash a car. That is what has just happened, and the tax plan is now going to hitch a ride to the Senate floor on the budget that's about to get a vote. And the heart of this proposal, colleagues, is it would write into black letter law a double standard for the American economy. Folks in the middle, the working class families that walk an economic tightrope day in and day out, balancing food against fuel and fuel against housing, their tax relief, so-called, is temporary. It vanishes in a few years. The multinational corporations get permanent tax relief. It's written into black letter law. And when I think about the multinationals, I think about the fact that I've actually written 2 bipartisan full income tax reform bills. And the Republicans who signed on didn't insist that the multinationals get a 20% tax rate. 20%. We heard moderates talk this morning about how they hadn't even seen any businesses say that they needed something less than 25. That alone would save colleagues $500 billion. That's the kind of money that we could have gotten to actually help middle-class families. Now, Senator Murray touched on health care, but I want to be blunt, and I don't think we ought to be kidding around here. When you talk about a mandate, it's really a coverage requirement. What this is not another garden variety hit on American health care. This is a repeal of the Affordable Care Act, because when you unravel the purchase requirement, right away you make it very hard to protect those with pre-existing conditions. And the reality, colleagues, when this bill passes, and we're going to fight it with everything we have, we're going to do everything we can to derail it, make no mistake about it, this provides an opportunity to go back to the days in America when health care was for the healthy and wealthy, because that's what you have when you discriminate against people with a pre-existing condition. If you're healthy, no sweat. If you're wealthy, you pay for it. So Senator Murray has touched on health care, and I want to make it clear what the implications for this are. It is to turn back the clock on the days in America when health care was for the healthy and wealthy. Now, with respect to the budget deficit, I've heard my colleagues touch on it. I was pretty amazed when the deficit hawks in the Republican Party flew away after they saw a budget that would allow for a $1.5 trillion net deficit. But now they seem to be flying back, I guess because of the size of the multinational tax cuts, but even more importantly, the Speaker of the House has basically indicated that the next bill after the tax bill will be, quote, entitlement reform. Let's make no mistake about what that means. That means that the majority, because they've announced it, will be coming after Medicaid. They'll be coming after anti-hunger programs. They'll be coming after the whole domestic array of the budget. And they'll say, oh my goodness, we've got big deficits. Now, colleagues, we have seen this movie before. I see Senator Van Hollen there. How many times has he seen this? You see something that masquerades as reform. It's not really reform. It's a tax cut. You get big deficits. You don't get the jobs And then everybody says, oh my goodness, we've got deficits. And who do they come for? Senator Van Hollen saw it when he was chairman of the House Budget Committee. They come after the most vulnerable, the people who are walking on that economic tightrope day in and day out. So colleagues, there's more I'd say, but I'm very pleased that Senator Sanders has mentioned the inequity of the territorial tax system. And by the way, this too, Senator Sanders, was something that we got Republicans to say, hey, we don't need this. We need something that rewards red, white, and blue jobs, creating jobs in this country, rather than creating new incentives to do business overseas. You have a town meeting anywhere in America. Senator Merkley and I have plenty. Come visit. Everybody says stop the tax breaks for doing business overseas. As Senator Sanders pointed out, territorial taxation says, hey, if you do business outside the United States, a whole new array of tax breaks that aren't red, white, and blue. So we'll have more to say, but I'm just going to close, Mr. Chairman. I never, ever, ever thought that I would see a key discussion on the budget foundation for $10 trillion worth of tax policy changes be completed in less than time than it takes to wash a car.